All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. We just wanted to take some time to walk through what we're doing today and to explain the rationale for the votes that we're going to take later this afternoon. I wanted to make a couple points that we think are really important for the discussion that's going to occur today, and I'm going to do it based on the media reports that I have seen to try to ensure that we address what the topics are that we think people are reporting on. Number one, in no way, even though it seems like some in the media are trying to spin it this way, are we attempting to circumvent the court. They have actually urged us to pass a map. I see some in the media have been reporting that somehow we're going around the court. It is ridiculous spin. According to our Constitution, the power to redistrict lies entirely with the state legislature. The courts should be the last resort. Actually, in their December opinion, the justices wrote in paragraph 4, quote, the legislature has the primary authority and responsibility to draw new legislative maps. See Wisconsin Constitution, Article 4, Section 3. Accordingly, we urge the legislature to pass legislation creating new maps that satisfy all requirements of state and federal law. We are not circumventing anything. Read the opinion. The legislature redistricts. We are not taking anything away from the court. They are the last resort in these disputes, and the court should welcome the ability for us to find a resolution. How could they not? They just wrote this in December, asking us to do it. Number two, what we're actually doing is making minuscule changes to ungerrymander the Evers maps. It's nowhere near complete, but we tried to figure out a way to live within the spirit and to ensure that we had a bill Governor Evers could sign. We still like our submission the best, but we realize the Democrats and the governor won't go along with that, so we have met them 99% of the way on the map that they asked for. Our changes actually disenfranchise fewer people than the governor's map because we reunite a couple of the legislators with their communities and undo a couple of the political gerrymanders in a few of the districts. We have some of the legislators here, and you can see we brought just a couple examples of what the maps look like. I'm going to let them talk about what's happening in their districts, but we want to make sure it's really clear. The men and women behind me are all planning to run for re-election no matter how the Evers maps attempted to gerrymander them out of giving the chance to run for re-election. So I'll start with turning it over first to Representative Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, this is the governor's map right next to me, and my home is 1.5 blocks outside the 85th Assembly District. What this means is, with the governor's map, I moved into the 87th, where only 25% of the people that I represent are still there. Meanwhile, the 85th Assembly District, which I have represented for the last 8 years, 73% of those people are in the 85th District. Now, these are the people that I have built relationships with. These are people that I have gone door to door and talked with them. We might not have all agreed on things, but they know me. They know me well. I've reached out and have tremendous relationships with the community, especially the Hmong community in Wausau, and now adding the village of Weston, which I'm very well known in as well. That'll be extremely important as well. I just want to say right now that I will be running in the 85th Assembly District because those people know who I am, and I still have work to do.
Next up.
Next up.
Thank you. When I gave my maiden speech during the budget, there was two principles that I ran on, that I came to Madison with, that I would not forget. One is obviously I will live to the fullest extent of the legislation that I pass. I'm younger. And two, do not forget where you came from. Well, today, I'm not forgetting where I came from. The lines that were drawn are as partisan and gerrymandered as you could possibly get. If you look at the map here, right over here, you'll see there's 15 feet. 15 feet I'm drawn out. Actually, to better demonstrate it, Scott, can you help me out here, Scott Bauer? I'd love.
Just hold
come,
it.
Come on, just help me out.
Or just stand up and hold it, just let him sit. Go ahead.
How about Emily? That's okay, just hold it.
Go do it.
Let me show you. Let me show you what this is. Ready? Pat will show. 15 feet. Ready? Right there. This is how far. This is how far they drew me out of the 55th. Well, the 53rd now. This is my community. I'm going to run. I'm going to represent. I'm a MENA graduate. I went K through 12 through this district. This is my home. And I plan on representing it, and I plan on doing what I know is best for my community. So this is what we're up against right here. So thank you, Pat.
You bet.
Next up is.
With that, I'll hand it over to Representative Binsfeld.
Good afternoon, everybody. I too am here to just express my desire to continue to run the area of Sheboygan. This is a community that I have served in my professional career for over 25 years. Yes, that was during my business profession, a profession that I chose to leave because I wanted to represent those same people from a political side here in Madison. But under the maps that were drawn by Governor Evers, he very conveniently decided that apparently I belonged slightly into Manitowoc. And by taking me up the coastline into Manitowoc, it only allowed me to represent 8% of what I currently represent. If we could make a change, I would have an opportunity to represent at least 42% of the people that I know and have grown to care about over all these years of service to them. I am excited to announce that I am going to continue to run, and I plan to represent the same good Sheboygan people that I have been a part of that community my entire life and served in my professional career for over 25 years. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Mako, Representative Mako.
Thank you. I'm John Mako from Ledgeview, the Green Bay area. I represent the 88th District, and come heck or high water, I will continue to represent the 88th District. Like my colleagues have been saying, our title is representative. We represent the 60,000 people within our district, and for the last 20 years, those folks in Ledgeview, Bellevue, De Pere have all been represented by me or my predecessors. That's not going to change. It's kind of funny. They engineered me out of my district, not by 15 feet, but barely 580 feet. Literally 580 feet. They surgically cut me out of my district. The district that I go to church in, served on that church board. The district that my two sons, who are now in their 40s, graduated from that high school just down the street in the 88th District, cut me out of that district. And as many of you know, I got remarried a year ago. We've been looking for housing anyway. So come heck or high water, if I have to move, we are going to move anyway. So one way or the other, I will represent the 88th District. What the governor's trying to do here is simply punitive, but it will not change anything. So I'm looking forward to coming back again this spring and running again to once again represent the folks of the 88th. And that brings me to who's next?
Very good.
Okay, thank you. Let me just say this, folks. I came here with the intention of working in a bipartisan manner. I'm very proud of our accomplishments. I'm very proud of the bills that we have been able to pass thus far on a bipartisan basis. And I thank the governor for his support of my 4 bills that have passed earlier this year. But I can't tell you how disappointed I am in the governor gerrymandering me out of a district that I have represented with friends, with associates, with partnerships, some of them going back decades. And I intend on running in the 61st District, which is indeed 77% of the current district I represent. I'm not about to abandon the people who chose me to be their representative. And if I have to move, I will move in a heartbeat. Thank you.
Thank you. I represent right now the 62nd District in Racine County. And as I take a look at this interesting map that was drawn by the governor, it carves me out of a place that I grew up in. It takes me out of communities that I've fully invested in right now. And I'll even go back to when I was elected to the Board of Education. I was urged by those that were elected in the village of Caledonia that I would represent them. This carves me out of all of that. And I will just tell you that representing those communities is a lot different than what you see here. There are a ton of cameras here. I didn't see that many when I went to a town hall in the village of Raymond the other night. It was just the residents that were there asking me questions about what's going on here. We invest so much in the communities that we were elected to. This is my third term. I will not depart from the district where I will represent the most of the people that I do now. That's why I obviously believe the maps we drew with the least amount of upset to the people we represent were the best. But moving forward, I will represent these people no matter what you try to draw me out of. Thank you.
So you can see that the surgical nature that was done on these districts was certainly done to accommodate Democrat candidates. Now, we think they probably already gone out and identified people to run in those seats, and most likely they've already been contacted by either the governor or the DPW. This is all part of a long-range political plan. If you took randomized computer data using any criteria that you could think of, there is no way that you would be able to draw a map where you would have 30 Republicans paired together and only 2, and it just so happens that one of those might be running for another office. That is not done randomly. What we're doing today is we are attempting very small fixes to fix the most egregious parts of the partisan gerrymander. It does not fix most of them. In fact, it only fixes about half a dozen. There is no way that they do not ignore the natural geography and they split up communities in order to achieve a partisan electoral interest. So again, we're trying to make the map slightly, a little bit more fair. All we've really done is make small changes on the edges, as you can see from these maps. If for some reason Governor Evers and his staff say that these small changes are a gerrymander, then the entire map that they have submitted is nothing more than the most egregious example of what a partisan gerrymander would look like. Now, in the amendment that we are adopting from the Senate today, we did move a couple blocks here and there to get so that these representatives don't have to necessarily move to go back into their district. Some are still going to be able to do that because we couldn't fix every situation. That being said, that's why I'm proud that every one of these legislators today said even if the governor vetoes the map, they are moving into the districts they have represented their entire life. So we hope that Governor Evers looks and says he can have his original map or with the tweaks, but it's the same people running in the same districts. There's no partisan advantage. Now, since January 12th, the Evers map has been lauded as the fair map. Evers said, quote, "Wisconsinites don't want Republican or Democrat maps because Wisconsin isn't a red or blue state. We're a purple state, and our map should reflect that basic fact." He's always promised, "I'd fight for fair maps, not maps that favor one political party or another," and that's a promise I'm proud to keep with the maps he was submitting on that day. Well, with these small tweaks, we are attempting to make the map as purple as Governor Evers said it was when he submitted it. Getting 99% of what you want should be an unprecedented political win in split government. Why would the Democrats not vote for this? And why would the governor not meet with us to discuss it? It's his map. He should want to drop everything that he is doing to get to a yes, if what he has said in the past, that this is one of the most important issues vexing Wisconsin. So let's just confirm it was fair in January, but all of a sudden now it might not be a fair map. I think the citizens of Wisconsin are smarter than this. And it's your job in the media to help report on the obvious collusion that you see before your eyes that is part of the Democrats' effort to gerrymander Wisconsin. What possible reason could the Democrats have to not vote yes on this bill today? Ask yourself. We actually reached out to the Democrats. We've been doing that for the past 24 hours, and we were told by the Assembly Democrat Caucus they would not support Governor Evers' original map. They thought they might have a couple people who could vote yes on the map drawn by their governor. Why is that? Because they think the fix is in. We have offered to the Assembly Democrats a very reasonable position that gives them 99.5% of what they wanted. In fact, we gave them 100%, and they still said no. So the Democrats' excuse that you will probably hear during the debate today is that they didn't have enough time to go over these maps and the changes, which are super small and almost inconsequential. Now, we arranged for the Legislative Technical Services Bureau, LTSB, to set them up with special redistricting computers weeks ago so that they would have the time to go over the submissions as soon as they were put forward on January 12th. The only reason we are here today on this super fast timeline is because the court has ordered us to be on the schedule. It's not the one that we chose. We have tried again and again in our court filings and in our pleadings to slow this process down because we think it's confusing for Wisconsin voters, and it sounds like it's confusing for Assembly Democrats. The court has denied our motions. So if the Democrats don't like the timeline, they can take it up with the Supreme Court, not us. If the schedule is good enough for the court, it's good enough for the legislature, and that's why we are here acting today. Wouldn't it be nice if all of us as elected officials figure out something without having to ask the Supreme Court or to have the U.S. Supreme Court to be involved? That is not our ultimate goal. It might be the only choice that we have if we can't get the governor to sign his own map and if we can't get Democrats to vote for the map drawn by their partisan governor. So I'm asking one more time, why don't we just put this to bed? Allow the citizens of Wisconsin to have a map, allow us to not have to go to the U.S. Supreme Court asking them to intervene like they did a few years ago, and give the citizens of Wisconsin the maps that they deserve and the opportunity for the people who are behind me to run for re-election and see where the chips fall in November of 2024. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
So to be clear, this is the Senate version, but with more changes?
No, it is the Senate version exactly.
Exactly.
We are concurring with the Senate. But in the Senate's version, all of these tweaks were already included, along with that for Senators Jacques and Marklar.
So after you pass it, it goes to the
Correct. It goes to the governor.
Robin, the special consultants have a deadline February 1st for the report on the proposals. You have a week and a half. Why not do a public hearing next week, special session, pass them, and give them time at least? If the Democrats want time, do it that way. You didn't put consultants have a report to them.
So the Democrats have had the time with the computers to do all the analysis. Governor Evers has been the one talking about introducing a fair map. We are taking them at their word. They said they did not want to adopt Governor Evers' map. Okay, so we are going to adopt the tweaked map today so we have a chance to get it to Governor Evers. Adding more time does not help the process. We want to be able to know what the answer is, not wait for some expert to give opinions on 5 different maps. We have one in front of us. It's the one that could pass the legislature. It's the one that could get signed into law because it's obviously drafted by the governor. And it allows us to stop the spending, stop the lawsuits, and give the people of Wisconsin a finite answer.
The map that Bill submitted to the court has 17 pairs in the assembly. Is that also partisan gerrymandering because more Republicans are paired on that map than Democrats?
I'm not going to characterize. We had nothing to do with drawing that map. Again, I think if you randomize the ability to look at the number of pairs, it's impossible to draw a map without using partisan intent to only pair people on one side of the political aisle and not randomly do it. I mean, we have almost 2/3 of the seats, so it would make sense that we would have, a similar number of pairs. But in Governor Evers' maps, I think we have all but one. So it's like 80-90% are paired on the one side. That's not random.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.